Hi everyone, this is Elijah Bailey, the current Vice President of the Oklahoma Karate Association, or the O.K.A. as you've come to know it. I'd like to take this time to say thank you for tuning in, thank you for stopping by our YouTube channel, or for finding this video on Facebook or Twitter or on our website. It is very appreciated that you guys will take the time out of your day to try to be a part of the O.K.A. For our current members, this is a big year for us. At the beginning of the year, before our very first tournament, we have $200 less than what we had after our first tournament. So we're sitting at around 8,200 and some change right now. That's very good. We haven't even had a tournament yet for this year, so awards are going to be even bigger, even better. Our bank was going to be even better than last year. And then also, before the first tournament, we have 70 brand new members that have not been a part of the O.K.A. There's 5 schools within Oklahoma that have joined the organization, and we have at least 2 to 3 schools outside the state of Oklahoma that are joining our tournament circuit. So it means last year, the year for potential, is over. This year is the year for growth. Everybody's been doing their part, but we could even do we could do even more. I don't want to just have a tournament with 150 competitors or 200 competitors. I want to get back to the old days where we had 300 competitors at every single event. Everybody had to fight, scratch, and earn their way to that award, that state championship award, or that award for that day. And that takes you, it takes your instructor, or if you're a black belt, it takes you getting out there and networking. We're a group. Oklahomans are known as pioneers, and so we all need to be in this together. And again, I'd like to thank everybody for what they've done so far, and I would like to ask you to do just a little bit more to get us where we want. Other than that, this is our YouTube channel, and this channel is to broadcast live stream events, specific matches, specific forums at tournaments, interviews with competitors, and make sure to inform and educate the masses. Educate parents how to scorekeep and timekeep if we need help at an event. Educate black belts who want to be certified judges or promoters, or go over the guidelines. Today, this video is going to run just a little bit long because I want to go over our meeting minutes from yesterday's meeting, and I'll talk about that shortly. But make sure that you do everything you can to be up to date on what's going on. We have a Facebook page, we have a Twitter account, we have this YouTube channel, we have a website, and we have 2 different email addresses. I will do everything in my power to get the information to you in a timely fashion, but I need to rely on you to be able to go out and search for that or find it at our forums that we have. At the end of this video, I will give you all of our social media site addresses or usernames, so that way you can log in and be a part of what the O.K.A. is. Next, there's certain stipulations and guidelines and bylaws within the O.K.A., and one of them is every year, the 3rd Saturday in February, we host an annual meeting. That being said, yesterday, February 15th, was the 3rd Saturday in February, and that's when we had our annual meeting. Now, that meeting is to discuss rules changes or discuss rules that you might have questions on throughout the tournament year, and to change the rules. There's only one time that we can actually change the rules so that our tournaments are consistent for the continuation of the year. And so we had our meeting. So I just want to go over that briefly with you. And like I said, this video will run just a little bit long because I'm going to give you how the vote went, who was voted upon, what was voted upon, and what the discussions were. So let's get right into that. At our annual meeting, all 12 of our board members were present, and out of that whole group, including our board members, we had 19 members present. This was a smaller meeting than last year, but again, we need everybody to come out. We need you to come out. We need you to be there. You know, every single year, it's the 3rd Saturday in February. Mr. Brown, our president, opened up the meeting and handed the floor over to Mr. Whit Bass, who is our treasurer. He went over the financial records with us, and like I said, we had, I think, 6,000, maybe 7,000 at the beginning of the meeting, and after that, right now we're sitting at 82,000 and some change, which last year, after our first tournament and after our meeting, we had $8,400 and some change. So we're doing very good this year. That's why I said this is the year of explosion. This is the year of growth. After that, Mr. Bass handed the floor back over to Mr. Brown. There was no old business to go over. It's just new business. We had 2 elections, and the elections process and nominations started at 2:28. For secretary, Ms. Veri Kenyon-Dewey was nominated by Ms. Kim Blake. That was seconded by Mr. Derek Reiner. She went unopposed, so Ms. Veri Kenyon-Dewey, congratulations, you're the new O.K.A. secretary. And then we had a board spot that was vacant. There was 4 nominations. Mr. David Perez was nominated by Mr. Derek Griner, and that was seconded by Mr. Alan Estes. Mr. Michael Cramp was nominated by Mr. Brian Bowles. That was seconded by me, Mr. Elijah Bailey. Mr. Kevin Funston was nominated by himself. That was seconded by Mr. Brian Bowles. And Mr. Jonathan Lotus was nominated by Mr. Michael Cramp, and that was seconded by me as well. Mr. Derek Griner moved to close nominations. That was seconded by Mr. Todd Brown. Then after that, we went ahead and voted. The motion to close the vote by Mr. Todd Brown was seconded by Mr. Johnny Watley, and Mr. Michael Cramp was elected our new board executive, receiving 9 votes, which was the highest tally of votes in that nomination bracket. So again, congratulations, Mr. Michael Cramp. You're one of our board executives, and the ideas that you brought are very greatly appreciated. You and Miss Kenyon Dewey. After that, new business. We had open business from the floor. Mr. Derek Griner motioned to change the age division rule, which right now it states as the date of January 1st, or what it did state is as the day of January 1st, however old you are, that is the division you compete in all year long. Well, he motioned that the day of the first tournament at 12 a.m., as soon as it changes to that day, however old you are, you compete in that division for the rest of the year. That was discussed briefly. It was seconded by the membership, and that vote passed, unopposed, uncontested. Then Mr. Derek Griner discussed the 5 tournament minimum rule, which states all members have to compete in a minimum of 5 tournaments to be eligible for year-end awards. That motion was denied because the $25 that the members pay is made up within the first 5 tournaments, and that guarantees that you support at least 5 O.K.A. tournaments. That's half. So if you're supporting half the tournaments, that gives you the right to get into the year awards. Now, if I only go to 2 tournaments and I rack up points, or 3 tournaments and don't come to any of the rest when everybody else is competing, that's not fair. And one of the things that we want to do is make this tournament circuit as fair as possible. So that motion was denied. Moving up in age division and how your points follow, that was a discussion again by Mr. Derek Griner. That was at 2:39. He just needs some clarification on how the rules go in that situation. If you move up to a division, you stay in that division, and your points will follow where you spent the most time as a competitor. So if I do 4 tournaments in a lesser or lower division, then I do 5 in the next one, my points move up because that's where I spent the most time. So I'm not racking up an exorbitant amount of points in a lower division and then going up to a division where I only compete 2 times and then I win that division. So that's what the question was. Next, Mr. Johnny Watley motioned to make the growing strike promoter optional, and we discussed this. That was seconded by the membership. It was 11 members in favor and 4 opposed. Then after discussion, Mr. Johnny Watley motioned that we take out growing strike completely. That was seconded by Mr. Brian Bowles, as to keep the tournaments consistent throughout the year. So it made no sense to have the first tournament growing strike, second tournament no growing strike, third tournament growing strike, and keep going back and forth. We'll just make it consistent for the year 2014. Now, if you have a problem with any of these rules, you can bring this up again the third Saturday in February and vote again for the next year. That'd be 2015. And again, like I said, the growing strikes were that rule passed. It was 14 in favor, 3 opposed. Then Mr. Brian Bowles motioned to take out kidney strikes. That was seconded by me, Mr. Elijah Bailey. We voted on that, 15 in favor, 1 opposed. So that motion passed. Mr. Kevin Funston had a 2-part discussion and a vote. The discussion was, what did the word authentic mean when the rule book? If you look under the weapons section in the latter half of the book, it states that all martial arts weapons have to be authentic martial arts weapons, and that wasn't clarified. So after he brought up that discussion, Mr. Kevin Funston motioned to change the word authentic to open, so that weapons, no matter what their material are, can be used. And then we just divided up in traditional weapons and then into the special category. That was seconded by Mr. Brian Bowles, and that was a majority in favor vote, 18-4, no one opposed. Then right after that, Mr. Whit Bass motioned that when separating those groups, we have our traditional forms, traditional weapons, traditional point fighting. Then we have the musical forms, musical weapons, specialty forms, specialty weapons, and we combine those 4 into one group called the open division. So, and the big controversy with this was traditional weapons do not leave your hand. when you're competing. The open category, you can do flips, 360 kicks, you can throw the weapon, and that's what one of the discrepancies was. So he motioned to make those 4 divisions an open division. That was seconded by me, Mr. Elijah Bailey, and then there were 18 in favor, no opposed. So that motion passed. And then towards the end of the meeting, Mr. Todd Brown suggested 1 point awarded for every technique, like we do at the old school tournament, to do that full year. That issue was tabled at this time because there was some discrepancy with the terms. And then Mr. Brown also motioned for a true state championship tournament. And upon that motion, Mr. Derek Griner amended to have wild cards and the top seeding competitor go last in that issue. Well, there needed to be a little bit more research and to see if that fit with our current guidelines and bylaws. So that table was issued until we can get enough information to actually make a clear, concise decision. After that, at 3:29, Mr. Whitbass motioned to close the meeting, and that was seconded by the membership. And those are our minutes from our meeting, February 15th, 2014. I don't really think there's anything else to go over. It was a very productive meeting. Everybody voiced their opinion. And again, this isn't a dictatorship. We need to hear from you. So when we have these annual meetings, we need you guys to come out. We need you guys to read your rule book first off. Then circle whatever's in the rule book, whatever you have a question, or in the back of the book, there's a comment section. Write that down and hold that into the meeting, or just continue to stay in contact with a board member throughout the whole year so we know to address it when the meeting comes around. For those of you that aren't members in the O.K.A., we encourage you to come out and compete, or come out and see an event and then give us your honest feedback. That's the only way that we're going to make things better, because the question isn't why O.K.A., it's why not. Thank you, guys.